Welcome to the Daily Dharma, a gentle podcast where we read a philosophical story every week and reflect on how it relates to everyday life. Our focus is to use Buddhist philosophy to understand the complexity of modern life and find achievable and accessible pathways to peace and happiness. Hi everyone, welcome to the Daily Dharma. In this episode, we'll be talking about rituals of grieving, and the story that we'll be reflecting on this theme is called Wisdom on Life and Death, and it comes from the book Zen Stories with Master Seiji by Daiki Shimada. Here is how the story goes. At a neighborhood funeral of a beloved elderly lady who had run the local daycare, a visitor to the community engaged in a poignant discussion with Master Seiji. The backdrop of quiet conversations highlighted the deep collective mourning and respect for the dear woman's impact on the lives of the whole community. This visitor respectfully approached Master Seiji and began by asking him, "Why do we focus so much on ceremonies for the dead?" they inquired. "Shouldn't we direct more of our energies towards the living, considering the impermanence of everything?" Seiji, understanding the depth of the visitor's query, responded with thoughtfulness. "These ceremonies," he began, "serve a dual purpose. They help us navigate our grief, providing a communal space to honor the departed. Yet, the essence of your question touches on a fundamental truth: the importance of cherishing the living." The visitor, still processing this answer, pressed on. "But do these rituals not risk anchoring us too deeply in our attachments to others, and thus prevent us from moving forward with our everyday lives?" Seiji took this point again with deep thoughtfulness. "The key," he said, "lies in balance. Just as the lady who has passed on nurtured the young with care and attention, we too must learn to care for our memories and our present connections with equal mindfulness. It's about holding on and letting go in equal measure." "So," he continued, "the rituals are for us, the living, to find our peace and to remember to live fully?" said the visitor. "Indeed," Seiji affirmed, "they remind us of the impermanence of life and the importance of living with compassion and presence. We honor the departed by living in a way that cherishes every moment and every person in our lives." The visitor nodded, a single tear rolling down his cheek, signifying a moment of deep clarity and acceptance on the rituals of grief. There is something about this story that truly hits home to me in multiple ways. First is the fact that we all, to some extent, have these built in rituals of grieving for when people pass away. But the truth is that on a daily basis, there are small and big things that are leaving us. And in a way, we are always grieving something. And sometimes that something is intangible. It could be a dream, a relationship, a person that we wanted to connect with and never could. And sometimes it is more tangible, like the loss of a dear loved one or a pet, or even a loss of your limbs. The thing is that we all need rituals of grieving that truly allow us to process our emotions. And sometimes those rituals are similar to those that society already has, such as a funeral. And for other forms of grief and letting go, it becomes incredibly important to form our own personal rituals. For example, a really simple one that helps me sometimes is if I'm grieving something or feeling hurt from something I have lost, I simply open a book and write it all down and allow myself to simply grieve openly and without holding back. And this is a very small gesture, but it's a way of honoring all the energy and love and devotion that may have gone into a certain person, relationship, or endeavor. And to really recognize that once this is gone and this is past, that this actually happened to you. Because I think some of the most painful wounds are formed by a lack of grieving. It's a lack of appreciating what we used to have or what we went through, and for honoring the journey that we've been on. And there are many reasons why people don't choose to honor the wounds and the grieving that is within them. It could be that what they're grieving is not recognized by others. It could be that they don't want to recognize that they have gone through something due to guilt or shame. And sometimes we don't even know that we are in need of grieving. This is a sensation that I find in myself if all of a sudden I start to feel sad or just teary-eyed. And when these feelings of sadness come and I don't know where they're from, to me that is a signal that says, oh, it seems I have something to grieve and I need to figure out what that is. And once I've reflected on it, it's going to give me new insight on how to be even more present and connected with my own everyday life. And ultimately, rituals of grieving are really about the rituals of processing life, because grieving and loss are a natural part of life. And in simply acknowledging this, we are reducing the burden of future, present, and past losses, because grieving and loss are no longer these alien parts of life that we don't want to think about, but rather just a natural part of the overall rhythm of life that we're engaged in. In a more personal note, my dear cat Ashes is now very, very old, and I recognized this in a moment this week where I could just feel her life energy was truly fading, and she's still with me for now, But clear as day, I just knew that this would be my last December with her. And of course, the tears flowed. And of course, I called my family and just grieved the loss of her, the beautiful friendship that we have, and it's the amount of love that she has given me and guidance. And I know it's a little odd, but she's actually taught me so much about compassion and forgiveness. And of course, it feels a little bit odd to cry for her when she's still here. But in kind of acknowledging that this is reality, that I will lose her fairly soon, I feel as though a burden has been lifted off my shoulders, because now I know that this is coming and that I am going to allow myself to slowly prepare for it day by day, rather than it being a complete surprise. And also, in just knowing that our time is limited, I cherish our days even more, because I know that they are numbered. Whether you are grieving someone who has already passed, or someone who is about to pass, or an intangible thing, I hope you have rituals of grieving that ultimately allow you to live life far more fully and mindfully. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have any thoughts or questions you'd like to share with me, please email me at dailydharmapodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to everyone that's reached out to me so far, and may you have a beautiful, safe, and joyful week ahead of you. Until next week.